Bust it.
Very good morning to you out there. It is time for your program of choice on Ait Political Platform. I am Adamu Bodorin. I will be devoting much time today to pay tribute to one of Nigeria's foremost politicians, another statesman, and three-time minister who died at the age of 84 in Abuja yesterday, Malam Adamu Ciroma. Well, for those who are very familiar with the life and times of this giant in politics, he began his career as a civil servant in the then Premier's office. That's the Premier of the Northern Nigeria, then in the First Republic, as a secretary, as an administrator, from where he was moved to start as the pioneer editor of the New Nigerian newspaper. And for those who are familiar with New Nigerian newspaper, New Nigerian newspaper was a very, very authoritative newspaper in those days. In the First and Second Republic, it's one newspaper that you cannot ignore because of its frankness, its truth, and fight for justice. It's on record that Adamu Ciroma stood solidly in defending all the journalists who worked under him then. And even when he left as editor and became the managing director of the newspaper, it was on record that Adamu Ciroma at a stage opted to resign when his editor, Mamman Daura, was arrested by the military rulers. That is an indication of his faith in his reporters. He mobilized them in ensuring that they perform their professional duties to his satisfaction and to the satisfaction of the reading public, who are then ardent readers of the New Nigeria. And by the time he moved into after that, he was appointed the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, the first no-economist, no banker, it's not also in the accounting profession to head the Central Bank of Nigeria as the governor. And one remarkable thing is that 2 years into his appointment, he was appointed by the then Muritala Obasanjo regime. He resigned because there was pressure on him by people from his community, Fika, in the now Yobe state, that he should represent them at the Constituent Assembly. And that's what does that one show? Because it's unthinkable that in Nigeria will be appointed CBN governor, and after 2 years he opted to resign, and he actually resigned, and in order for him to represent his people at the then Constituent Assembly in 1977-78. And from there, he was a key figure in the Second Republic policies. In fact, he was one of those who just stood and sought for the sole presidential ticket of the National Party of Nigeria, NPN then. And in the first run for the ticket, he came third. Shagari came first. The late Maitama Sule came second, and he came third. And they were to have a second run, but he opted out. And both himself and Maitama Sule conceded the presidential ticket to Shehu Shagari. Then one remarkable thing I will recall about Adamu Ciroma was that after the death of Abacha, and there were talks about transiting to democracy, I was mandated by my employers, TAC Communications, to go and have a feel of what is really happening in the north. What kind of thinking are they having as we want to move to the Fourth Republic? I had a 2-hour interview with Adamu Ciroma, and he was the first to reveal in that interview, which will carry as an exclusive report on both AIT and Ray Power that will not feed any candidate for the presidential election in 1999. That shows you that it's an indication of the fact of his prominence, in the politics of not just the North, but of Nigeria. The man is gone. He was buried yesterday in Abuja. Adamu Ciroma will be remembered for so many things he did. One thing you can take away is that Adamu Ciroma was a true patriot. He was someone who believed in the unity and cohesion of the Nigerian nation. We miss him. We miss him in politics. We miss his advice. We miss him in so many areas. Here, we pay tribute to him today because he was one solid politician that cannot be ignored at the time he was alive. And yesterday at the presidential villa, the Northern Christian Association of Nigeria visited President Muhammadu Buhari, and one thing they did was to plead with him to ensure that the wave of killings in the country is halted, and they also demand for the release of Leah Sharibu, the lady that is still in captivity by the Boko Haram after her colleagues and schoolmates were released. She still held in captivity because of her resolve not to denounce her faith. The presidency too, you all recall during the week that last week and this week that the rift between the governors and the NNPC over the sharing of the federation account for the month of June. The presidency waded into that issue yesterday, and we do hope maybe in the next few days the issue will be resolved. And President Muhammadu Buhari also signed an executive order yesterday. The executive order is executive order number 6 of 2018 to freeze suspicious assets, and this is an indication of the fact that we are moving a next step in the quest to halt corruption and put an end to it in this country. Any suspicious assets can now be freezed, particularly for those who are facing trial. And from Owerri yesterday, it does seem as if the infighting over the outcome of the world local government and state congresses of the Nigerians ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, is not yet over. A federal high court will nullify wards, local and state congresses of the Imo chapter of the APC. Well, what we do not know now is that now that the congresses have been nullified, with the National Executive direct that fresh congresses be held at the level of the ward, local and state and at levels of the party in Imo State. You will recall that there has been a little bit of conflict from the deputy governor, and then the former national organizing secretary of the APC, Senator Osita Izunazo, and others. There have been fights. There have been, and it got to a stage that it nearly marred the national convention of the party when it took place in Abuja. Now that the court has nullified, it seems now that it is clear now that unless there is a reversal of that judgment at the level of Court of Appeal, that no executive of the party at any level in Imo State. Mustafa Mohammed is on the platform.
Thank you very much. The country has lost one of its illustrious sons, Malang Adamu Ciroma. In fact, if you are talking of politicians at the national level from the northeastern part of Nigeria, especially Yobe, you talk about Malang Adamu Ciroma and people like late Waziri Ibrahim, but I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned from him. On the executive order by the president, I think it's long overdue, because people who have been accused of corruption, when the anti-corruption body gets their accounts frozen, then not long after that, the same account will be unfrozen, and they will have unfettered access to the controversial monies or wealth allegedly stashed in those bank account. I think this will help the anti-corruption. The Imo State crisis of the APC, let's not forget that it's not just in Imo State. There are so many states where there were controversies, and then the last chairman of the APC went ahead and swore in those executives without solving the problems at hand. I think, just like one of the newspapers reported, that the last chairman had planted a time bomb for Adams Ashomole. Adam Ashomole has stepped into so many problems as the chairman of the APC with the PDP and so many similar problems like this.
Yeah, yesterday the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, had a meeting with what they call stakeholders meeting with the media executives in Abuja, and the plan for Ekiti election was unveiled. They have on a checklist of 14, and it's only 2 that is remaining for now, and that is the last day of the campaign and, of course, the election. Ujoje was at that stakeholders meeting.
Yes, Adebayo Bodunri, I was at that meeting, and I think that what was really agitating the hearts of probably the media executives that were there and some Nigerians is this issue about cloning Nigeria's PVC and possibly the online shop, where they said Nigeria's PVC was placed, and the INEC chairman promptly, in fact, that was one of the very first issues that he addressed, and he made it clear, sort of reassuring people, particularly with the Ekiti governorship elections coming up next weekend, that there is no way the PVC could be cloned, and that even what would be used has not yet been configured. If he said, particularly, if you clone the PVC, you clone the face on the PVC, are you also going to clone the face that would eventually want to use it, assuming it gets into the hand of the wrong people? And I think that was somewhat reassuring because people had started entertaining fears. Rumor mongers will go to any length to create unnecessary panic and tension. I think that was good, and I think that interactive session is also a very, very good initiative because he answered a whole lot of questions. I also recall the questions raised by Adebayo Bodunri. So Ekiti, INEC is ready, and he says everything that INEC needs to do as a commission towards the success of that election has already been done.
Yeah, we'll be linking up with 2 people in Ekiti State, both from across the political divide, PDP and APC, to seek their reactions on the allegations and counter accusations here and there that have been going on in the last few days. But for now, after this short break. Thanks for remaining with us. Ekiti election is just a week away, and next week Saturday, the electorate in Ekiti State will go to the polls to pick a new governor. There have been acquisition and counter-acquisition, particularly between the ruling PDP in the state and the opposition APC. We're now being joined by Taiwo Olatunbosun. Taiwo Olatunbosun was a one-time commissioner for information and is currently the head of media team for the APC campaign organization in Ekiti State. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
Fine.
Thank you very much.
Let me go straight. There has been this accusation and counter-accusations between the PDP and APC. What is really happening in Ekiti State?
Thank you very much. I think, yes, normally when you are getting nearer to an election day and there is campaigns and all sorts, there will be some issues that will definitely come up. But at the moment, what our party is doing is to move around the entire state. We have done that. campaigning based on issues and what we're going to offer for the state, and particularly looking at the state of the state as it is under the present administration. We believe there are things we have done before and things we can still bring to bear, particularly about the welfare of the people, and also to actually boost the economy of the state to be able to meet a lot of responsibility to the people, and managing the resources available and accruing to the state, both internally and other means. But it is unfortunate that the government of Fayose and the PDP in Ekiti State haven't failed the people, particularly.
But let me ask you this question directly.
Yeah.
How will you react to the allegations that you want to use federal might and then you want to INEC?
That is exactly what I'm trying to address, because I'm talking about Fayose as a governor of the state, PDP as a party in the state. They have failed the people, non-payment of salaries, and but what I'm trying to say specifically is that I haven't failed the people. They are just trying to bring up issues. Fayose is an attention seeker, is a public attention seeker, and is trying to weave sentiments on what is not on ground. What is about federal might? He's afraid of his past. They have done it before. They have used federal might against the will of the people or to subvert the will of the people before. So they think it's every other party, every other person that can do that. There's nothing near that. What we can use or what we can boast of or what we have been telling people is the excellent performance of our party at the national level and some other states of the federation, which is very, very important. What
you say the governor of Fayose is saying is not correct. What about this allegation, the arrest of the deputy chairman of the PDP in the state, and the PDP is alleging that it's another way of trying to intimidate it,
and also some teachers.
No, that is not. What is important is this: we have to separate criminality from politics. The fact that we are moving to an election does not mean that we are not police. Our party, we are not police. And if anybody is caught in the act of violating the law of the land, the person cannot be walking on the street freely. And that is not our own business. I don't know of any deputy chairman that was arrested anyway, and it has nothing to do with us. But the issue I read as much as any other person on the pages of paper that some teachers were arrested, and why they caught them with a lot of permanent voters cards, and what could any individual be doing with hundreds or 200s of permanent voters cards? And these are some of the issues that need to be situated well. But nobody, Fayose cannot just sit down in his office and allege that, so person is APC is arresting people. Nobody, there's nowhere in this state that we have been involved in any form of arrest. The police are there as law enforcement agents to perform their duty and responsibility in line with the dictates of the law. And what I'm saying is that APC, we are party of the progressive, and we are carrying out issue-based campaign. And what we know is that the election has been conducted in many states of the federation without any use of federal police or military or whatever. And the APC have lost and won election in the last 3 years. So it cannot be an exception.
Yeah, we have to thank you here.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Ekiti is in the news.
Of course.
Our hope and aspiration is to pray and let everybody come on board. Let's have a peaceful, free and fair election, not like the last Ekiti election where allegations of the use of a military officer to carry out a lot of things that shouldn't be, done. The army authorities have really taken a division on that officer.
Let's also hear the PDP. We are being joined by the former chairman of the PDP in Ekiti State, Chief Bola Oluojo. There are these accusations and counter accusations. What really? Why are you alleging that there is a plan to rig the election?
Yes, because of the activities of some of the officials of the INEC in collusion with some of the utterances of the APC. members, especially the frontliners in the APC. You know, when you go into the grassroots, you get a lot of information. And when somebody is speaking, even within a meeting of two, there is bound to be some leakages, and which may actually be the truth of the matter. So these allegations are all necessary, either to confirm the situation or to guide against.
Do you have facts and figures that is planned to, or a kind of a collusion with because INEC yesterday in Abuja dismissed such fears that they are going to conduct a free, fair, and credible polls?
Information, unless where they are recorded, cannot be easily transmitted like that in factual situation. But then in every particular situation, there are elements of truth. And the elements of truth is what anybody who is sensitive to political situation will utilize to make sure that even if such plans are in the offing, they are not they do not materialize, or they are checkmated.
INEC also said yesterday that there is no way anybody can tamper with the electoral system for Ekiti State right now, because even the card readers that would be used for that election have not yet been configured. So are you not trying to cry foul where there is none?
My simple answer to that is that some people have been given their PVC, yet their names did not appear on the printouts. Who made that error? Is it we, the people that have the PVC, or INEC that released the voters register? So if such thing that can be proven is actually very valuable, then the one that cannot be very valuable can also be there.
Well, we need to thank you here. Time is against us, Chief Bola Olujo, for joining us.
I want to make a comment. INEC should try not to have an inconclusive election in Ekiti State.
Okay, I think they are listening to you. They are hearing you.
You know, we run out of time, but just before we go, the Sokoto State Governor yesterday told the BBC, Aminu Waziri Tambuwal told the BBC that he is considering his membership of the APC, himself and so many other colleagues, and of course his party in the state. So in the next few months, we await so many things.
In the next few days, a lot of things are going to unfold with the emergence of reform or progressive Congress, RAPC. We're watching out for it. We monitor it and let you hear it first on Ray Power. We thank you for investing your time with us today. Let's do it again on Monday. I am Adebayo Bodorin on behalf of my colleagues.